Zoom call. And so I'm going to talk briefly about fellowships and funding, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. So our students are funded through three or four main avenues. The first is through fellowships, and we have both internal fellowships that are competitive at the university level, as well as external fellowships that are more kind of nationally competitive. I highly recommend, I know Lena talked about, the December 15th deadline. So I highly recommend also applying for fellowships at that time. That will then put you in the fellowship application pool at the university level. Our grad group is actually really good at having students who do get these internal funds that usually cover tuition and give you a living stipend for at least 1 year. And I know that one of our students who received that fellowship is on as well. The other type of fellowship would be external fellowships. So that's usually the National Science Foundation or the Ford Foundation. And those are open to early career grad students who don't yet have their master's degree, unfortunately. So some of you do, you're not eligible for these early ones, but there are other fellowships that you would be potentially eligible for down the road. And those are very competitive at the national level. The National Science Foundation only awards about 2,000 across the entire country in a given year. And again, our grad students have done really well in getting those awards as well. I think our hit rate is maybe about twice what the overall average rate is. The second way that our students are funded is through teaching assistantships, and they come in two different time frames or time allocations. One would be what we call 25%, which is 10 hours a week. And then the other would be 50%, which is 20 hours a week. And each of those comes with a living or with a salary, as well as tuition and fees covered for that quarter. And the only difference is that, one is 10 hours a week, one's 20 hours a week. So the one that's 20 hours a week obviously ultimately pays more. And that's awarded quarter by quarter. And because our undergrad major has been growing in recent years, we have not had a shortage of those. In fact, we've had to reach outside of our graduate group to fill all the TA shifts. So I anticipate that continuing into the future. A third form of funding is through research assistantships, and these are awarded directly from a given professor who maybe has a grant or extra research funds, and that covers your tuition for the quarter as well as a salary. And it's similar to TA ships in that it covers, it usually is 10 to 20 hours a week of commitment. And then the fourth mechanism is through student loans, and I don't know that many of our students have to end up relying on that, but that is an additional option available to students as well. So I think that's like a quick overview. We try to fund students as much as we can. Let's see, Lena, you can hop in too, but our funding packages in general, it depends year to year based on what is allocated to our graduate program, but we try to fund students across their first 3 years. And we have always had availability of TA ships to continue to fund students through the entirety of their degree. So I think that's all that I have to